Good morning, everybody. Brooke with Mrs. Cog Hill Farm. Got part of my secret service here. This is Mr. Rocky. He's decided that he needs to go with me to feed this morning. Got Dee Dee leading the way in front of me, even though y'all can't see her, and Bandit, who's already headed out. So we're gonna go take care of things this morning on the farm, and I'd like for y'all to come along. She acts like she knows right where we're going. I hope she makes the right turn because we got to go to the barn first. Not taking care of chickens first. Had to take a peek and make sure I was still behind her. Oh yeah, she knows the way. She definitely knows the way. If y'all saw the video yesterday on the main channel, then you know that Jason moved the horses by himself back over to where we initially started them off, doing a little pasture rotation. The Emu boys, Ernest T and Opie, over here, Jesse and Honey over here, and we put our goats in a stall at night so they are locked up. I don't see Loretta. She must have decided to sleep in this morning. We don't lock Loretta up in a stall at night. She probably sleeps all night, but if she wanted to come out, she needs to be able to get to where she needs to go because she's like a bull in a china shop when she gets ready to do something. You're not gonna stand in her way. So don't know where she is, but I bet she'll hear me when she knows I got food. I could hear from the inside of the barn while I was fixing Loretta, Peaches, and Pocket's food what sounded like a monster. And it wasn't a monster at all. It was this girl. Where are you? Where are you? It was this girl. Retta, you love your breakfast, don't you, girl? You just can't wait. Show everybody your beautiful face this morning. Yeah, that's right. Pig that knows commands. You're a good girl. Speaking of monsters, there's the real deal right there. Tater monster. Let it roar, Tater. She looked at me. Little man's over there. He just lets out a little, it's almost like a insect. It sounds so weird. That's Matilda. There's Tater. Tatersaurus. All right, goats, y'all ready to come out this morning? Everybody looking so beautiful. Y'all look how little Laura is. I know you probably don't get much comparison, but she is a very small figured Nubian. And her height is, of course, not nearly as tall as her brothers. There you can see a little more of what I'm talking about. She's just a petite girl. And she's so beautiful. Everybody headed over to the new pasture. Bo Peep. Hey, Topper. How are you this morning, buddy? You look so beautiful. Yes, you do. That feels good? Yeah, Topper got some loving. And Miss Bootsy. Miss Bootsy's getting to be well, she's not getting to be. Miss Bootsy's an old lady. She's a Nigerian dwarf, and she and Tip are our oldest. So they wait a little bit longer to get out of bed. Yeah, those young ones, they beat you over there, don't they? I got Topper rubbing on my leg this morning. Come on, Tipper. Tip is, of course, the bully of the bunch, if we have one. He's been with us the longest. There has to be a bully, doesn't it, Tip? There has to be a bully, and you're it. Not to us, just to the other goats. Miss Fifi, you're a medium-age goat, I should say. You're not nearly as old as Tip and Bootsy and Topper, but you are lagging behind this morning. I had somebody peeking over my head wanting me to show y'all how beautiful he is. Ernest, you can't have my microphone. You can't have, that's not Ernest, Brooke. That's Opie. You can't have my earrings, but you can come see everybody. He's the friendlier of the two. Oh, Tater, I'm coming, girl. All right, I'm coming. I know. We coming. Be nice, Tater. Be nice. Let's come down here first. Come on, Matilda. Come on, baby. Got you down here. Come on. Fence is off. All right. I go do a little bucket collection while they're eating. You know, I thought after little man was here for a little while and he saw that the other cows are not scared of us, that we can touch them, I thought that he would let us put our hands on him, but he won't. If he sees me even remotely coming close to him, hey buddy, hey there. Yeah, he's just scared. And that's how he's gonna be. And that's okay. He'll be loved and cared for just like the rest of them, but he's not gonna be hands-on like we hoped for. And we could have put him up in a stall and separated him from Tater and done all those good things to make him friendly, but we chose to not and hopefully take the natural route, which he said no thank you. Y'all see my big girl over here? Look at how, you don't get to see comparison very often, but she's a big girl. She is way taller than Tater or Mildred. Of course, she's not taller than Moody. Don't know of a cow in Alabama that's taller than Moody, but she's really grown, really grown. I have to watch her because she does sling her head a lot. I think she looks at me as her cow mama, not the one that cared for her, but her cow mama. And you know, just slinging that head, and not in a mean way at all, just in a playful way. And she can be dangerous. So I approach her with caution, knowing that. And when, you know, she gets a little excited. So I'm gonna get this bucket behind her and get it over the fence. But I wanted everybody to see her and just see how tall she is. I'm gonna stand right beside her so you can kind of get a visual. And then I'm gonna go stand by Mr. Moody and you can get a visual on him. Can't pick these cows up and, didn't know what that was, her slurping water. Can't pick these cows up and put them side by side to do a visual, but I can come stand by them. Hey, big boy. Hey, big boy. And you know, we do the parasitic wasp that are put out in the manure, and they do a good job with the flies. Then we have the cattle curtain, which puts the fly spray directly on their back when they walk under it, but nothing completely eliminates flies. So if you did see some flies on them, it's controlled, but it's not eliminated, if that makes sense. It could be a whole lot worse. And we are pretty satisfied with where we are with the fly situation. My little Dee Dee may not be categorized as a farm dog, but she's the best thing for me, I can tell you all that. It's getting hot, isn't it, girl? I appreciate you tagging along with me and being so loyal, even if it is hot outside. You might decide in a minute it's time to go home, but you do your best and you wait on me. As soon as I come back in the door, you're the first thing I see. Loyal companionship. Right, girl? Yeah, so sweet. Well, today is one of those days when we take accumulated baskets back to the chicken area. Snow White said, yes, it is. Snow White had a problem yesterday while I was at a doctor's appointment. Jason reached out to me and said, well, Snow White and her dwarf's water has a crack in it, so I'm gonna need you to stop on your way home and get them a water. So I did, but he made do while I was gone. She has to have something really wide, and so he put this bowl out, but I need to go get the water that I purchased for her, which is a duck water, because it has a wider base. You can see that hen back behind her is either laying an egg or sitting on an egg. And then there's one right beside her that's already been laid. I can't believe she hadn't scraped that one up under her. Not sure where Aunt Bee is. She's out and about somewhere. See the lady that crows in the dirt taking a bath. She's appreciating a little dust bath this morning. I'm gonna have to put these baskets, well, I'll tell you what, I'll just walk outside and see if I see Aunt Bee. Goodness, get it, girl. Oh yeah, Aunt Bee's not missing. She's doing the same thing as the crow and hen by taking a dust bath over in the corner. I don't know why that makes me smile, but every time I see a chicken just rolling around in the dirt, just making sure they cover every part of their body, it just puts a smile on my face. Does it, y'all? And these girls really get it too. I mean, they get their heads all involved. I guess if I had that much fuzz on my head, look at her, kicking it up. Goodness. All right, now on to the laying chickens. Not that these chickens don't lay, but they're not productive, so to speak. Well, Miss Pocket's already made it out. That was quick. She is so sleek and shiny and looking good. Of course, she appreciates having that grass, and as soon as she finishes eating, sometimes she doesn't finish eating. When that gate opens up, she's gone. And sometimes Peaches will join her, and sometimes Peaches hangs back and says, I didn't sleep well last night, Pocket. You got this, don't you? And of course, Pocket, she does. She enjoys her grass time. Yesterday morning, this same routine, I go over to take care of the chickens, and I find a duckling. And if you saw yesterday's video, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can imagine how I couldn't figure it out, y'all. I was like, where did a baby duck? I could understand a baby duck and its mama, or ducklings and its mama. But a single duck, no mama, no other babies in sight, just kind of had me a little bit worried. First, I thought somebody thought that they couldn't take care of a duck anymore, which happens a lot of times. But it was just a day or so old. So that made me think it had to have came from here, but where? So don't know if we will see any ducklings this morning. Kind of hope if we do that they have a mama, or it has a mama, because I don't need to take care of a single duck. My initial thoughts were, where am I going to get a duckling for its friend? Because a solo duck is not a good thing. It could have a chick for a friend. It just didn't need to be alone. So, sun hemp, here we are. You can see how thick this stuff is. I don't know. No ducks so far. Just a bunch of chickens that are, and a turkey, and a goose. And the goose looks like, well, looks like something got him. Cheese looks like he has had a big time fight with something, because he is molting. And y'all see white feathers everywhere. So birds typically molt twice a year, or one big molt. Once or twice a year, I should have said. And this is Cheese's time. Kind of scares you when you first come out. So the first thing you're going to see is all these feathers on the ground, which are literally everywhere. But Cheese isn't falling apart. He's just releasing some feathers. All right, girls, let me set these baskets down, because you don't understand why I'm not giving you scratch. All right, ladies, y'all ready for some scratch? I know you are. Ladies and gentlemen. Uh-oh. Man down. We got to reset that. All right, girls. And Thomas, and Cheese, and Ryan, and a little naked neck rooster. Everybody come on. Oh my, I see something that makes me happy. Very, very happy. I see a cream leg bar hen walking right there. I see what I think, I'm pretty sure, is the Copper Moran or Moran rooster right there. And then another hen that's a Copper Moran right there. You can tell that it did not take them long to catch on to the barrel water. We have a water inside for those that haven't came out yet. But 3 outside is really, really good. I wanted them to come out on their own. I didn't get behind them and shoo them out. I just let them make their own decision about when it was time. And I'm glad that they found the water. So you see, not everybody has decided to come out yet. They're lingering around outside the door, and they'll come to the door, to the outside door. But these girls have not making their grand appearance to the real world yet, which is okay. Take your time, girls, take your time. They're not scared of us. They come and greet us, and they still have their food and water in here, and that will continue to happen. And then they have some hens that come and greet them, some old hens, to just see what's going on. Be nosy. Be nosy. All right. Well, I'm glad to see that y'all are doing well. That makes me happy. And right back in. Yep, to our safety spot. This is quite a beautiful Americana. And I know it's an Americana because, well, you can see the little tufts on the side of her face there, characteristic of Americana. And they have a different comb than a regular chicken. She's a beautiful hen. I like her coloration. Americanas can come in lots of different colors. And I remember picking her out and liking that dark black and white pattern, not knowing what she was going to look like when she was grown, which appearance doesn't really matter. I just want them to be healthy and happy. But she turned out to be a beauty. I'm going to get my baskets hung back up where they belong. You can see that we have quite the assortment of baskets, and that's just because you never know when you're gonna, well, I can't get this one unstuck. It's gonna require 2 hands, I believe. Jason would have never done that. He would have never filmed undoing 2 baskets. He'd have stopped the camera, put it down, and made sure everything was set. But that's the differences in us, and that's why I record a separate video, because I do things a different way. And I'm not so focused on what the filming looks like, where that's his pride and joy. So, my red basket, my favorite red basket, I've told y'all before. We're gonna gather eggs, and I feel like we do that in every single video. But guess what? I do it every single day. So if I have to do it, y'all have to come along, and we have to gather eggs. All right, so far we're at 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, and my little dirty fix here needs to be flipped over, which keeps the chickens from pecking. Oh, I just saw a hen that had an egg and she tried to roll it up under. No, girl, give me that. I believe that was 15, is that right? Sometimes I have to cheat a little bit, especially if I'm recording with my phone. I have to go back and say, I don't remember how many I counted. So I go back and I listen to myself and remember how many it was. But I think that was number 15, I think. All right, ladies. Get your head in, girl. We got to gather your eggs. Get back. There we go. Uh-oh. I thought I put this mat in here. I know I did. Looks like we got another egg that was eaten because the mat's not in here. But I thought I put that mat back in there. That's a problem. Let's see. 16. This makes 18. 19, 20. 21 with the one that was busted because the mat's not in here. 22. 23. 24. But it's actually only 23 because one of them was busted. I need one more egg, girl, to make 2 dozen. You got one? Got an egg you can spare? Nobody has an egg. So this area up here is still working out wonderfully. It's keeping those anconas from laying up top. But here's what they've resorted to doing. Well, since we can't lay up there anymore, we're just gonna lay right here on the ground in the corner, number 25, but 24 because one of them was busted. Are the musical box girls themselves. 2 anconas, but probably one of them is the one in my last video that went back and forth and back and forth. But regardless, it's better that they're not laying up top. They are quite comical. So a lot of times when you have a chicken that's eating eggs, it's because your chickens have a calcium deficiency. And I don't think that's the case with ours because we do have oyster shells, which are calcium, and we do have a feeder that we feed the calcium to. Chickens are smart enough to know that when they're deprived of something and it's available to them, then they consume it. Just as I was squatting down right here, this girl was eating out of the feeder, and that right there is oyster shells in a little feeder that's designed to feed them that. Now grit is another thing and allow them to help digest their food in their gizzard. Unless your chickens are locked up without access to the ground, we have so many rocks and pebbles in our ground that the chickens naturally are able to find little rocks, little pebbles, little stones, and consume it that way. So just something. Here comes a couple of new ones. They hopped on over, and nobody's bullying them. Nobody's bullying them. Nobody's following them around. I feel very good about them. But if you're new to chickens and just thought I'd pass on that little tidbit of information and let you guys know that we do have a oyster shell distributor. So on this side of the sun hemp is where Jason put the feeder and the water for the little mamas and little babies and the mama duck. And you can see that she's consumed some of it, that's for sure. Definitely consumed some of it. The water's about half full now. The feeder has been eaten down some, but my hope is that she is safe. My hope is that she has learned, if it's the same duck that took the ducklings to the pond early on, that had the babies in the greenhouse initially. I don't know if it is or not, but you know, makes you wonder, are animals smart enough to learn from their mistakes? I mean, could she be smart enough to say, hey, I took 14 babies down to that pond, and in just a matter of no time, 14 babies disappeared. So next time I have babies, I'm gonna keep them up here where the chickens are, and I have access to water, I have access to a swimming pool, and access to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and that's where I'm gonna take my babies. Maybe, I don't know. No way to know if that was the case or not, but I think animals are smarter than what we give them credit for. I really do. On my way home with my basket of eggs, because once again, we have depleted our stash of eggs as a family. Sure is nice to go out there and gather farm fresh eggs that you know what went into your chickens. And once again, I encourage you guys, if you're in an area that you can have a couple of hens and it's not too much for you to take care of them, chickens are a good companion. They're not so, I don't want to say they're not so committed as a cat or dog, but seriously, they're not so committed as a cat or a dog. They're easier to care for. It just doesn't require a whole lot of extra. As long as you have a safe place for them to live and you supply them clean water and fresh food, then they'll give you a little something in return that you won't be disappointed with. So no eggs for me this morning because I already have my breakfast ready. And for those of you that listen to our lives, you know that I call it bird seed, and I eat this a lot. So it's quinoa, and I just used the organic tricolored quinoa. And I also cut up an apple before I cook it. And I use a rice cooker. So this is the cheapest one that I could find in the store at Walmart. And you can do a timer, but somehow when I tried to use the timer, like to make it delay so it'd be ready for me in the morning, it didn't work out. So I don't know if I did something wrong or it really doesn't work right. But all I do is hit the power button. Well, let's see. Let me show y'all what I do. Power is on, white rice, and it's, well, the lid's not on. But after I hit white rice, it starts spinning around and it automatically cooks the quinoa or rice to this consistency. Now, to me, it is perfect with an apple added, but you could, I've added pears, I've added sweet potatoes, I've added different things. But for breakfast, I love the apple added. And I feel like not only am I getting a lot of fiber, but it holds me. It's not just, you know, a carbohydrate that depletes itself quickly. It's something that will hold me. And of course, you gotta have some Cog Hill honey. So honey is drizzled on the top of it. And voila, there's my breakfast. Well, now that breakfast has been consumed, I am back outside and ready to get the rest of the day started. Probably cutting some grass. Not really sure what we'll get into today, but I guarantee you it'll be something not sitting. So the quinoa is not the best tasting breakfast in the world, but at this point in my life, I'm more about what makes me feel good, what makes me feel like I'm doing something healthy, and that's where I feel like the quinoa is. While I call it birdseed, it does have a good flavor. The honey is a must. I've tried it without the honey and I just can't do it. It's kind of like, I commend y'all that can drink black coffee without any sugar or creamer. Can't do that either. So if you do try it, maybe give it a try both ways and see what you think. But I appreciate y'all joining me this morning. And the sun's shining, the birds are singing. So let's go do something that we enjoy. Y'all be good.